Hey, I bought another thing. I, like most of you, probably, always look around online at lenses for my camera, but don't want to spend the money. I had found a few vintage zooms at a thrift store a while back for cheap, and loved using the manual focus. So, after a late night browsing the interwebs the other week, I finally bought something newer. I had put off buying any other focal lengths that my kit lens already covered, but after finding this on Neewer's website on sale for about $50 Canadian, plus a discount for Pride Month bringing it down to $35, I couldn't pass it up, as I dislike this kit lens anyway. This is the Neewer 32mm f1.6 for Sony E-mount. Let's open it. You get a little pleather bag, some papers nobody reads, and a cleaning cloth that I've apparently already lost. Lastly is the lens in a little baggie. It's about the size I was expecting, but actually felt heavier and more solid than I expected. Here's the front element and Neewer labeling. All metal lens mount around the back, obviously with no electronic connections as this is manual only. The focus ring is smooth enough, feeling on par with the kit lens, though maybe a bit heavier to turn. Let's take this outside. Here's a look at the lens caps, and I personally like the engraved NEX logo. Aperture and focusing distances are clearly etched on the lens, though in my opinion the font could be nicer. Aperture is marked from f22 through to wide open at f1.6. Though the aperture ring is a little stiffer than the focus ring, I would prefer if it wasn't declicked, so I could find the stops a bit easier. Look at the aperture blades though, 12 to be exact. Good for round bokeh, even when stopped down. But how does it actually compare with the kit lens? It's actually about the same size as the kit lens collapsed, just a bit narrower. A small touch I thought was pretty interesting. This lens shares basically the same focus ring design as the Sony 16-50, but not plastic. And though the barrel does extend while focusing, it's nothing compared to the growth of the kit lens when powered on. Let's get this switched over now. All clips and photos in this video are as shot, straight out of camera with no edits. Already so much more bokeh than the kit lens. Even at its budget price, the kit lens feels like a toy compared to the Neewer lens. Though the kit lens covers the focal length plus more, I really wanted something with a faster aperture. The power zoom wasn't a feature I particularly cared for anyway, and while OSS is definitely a nice feature, I just really don't like the focus by wire and cheaper point-and-shoot kind of feelings I get from the kit lens. Enough about that lens though. It's a nice weekend, so let's have some fun with it and get my initial thoughts on the Neewer 32 f1.6. Being used on my APS-C camera means this lens has a full-frame focal length equivalent of 48mm. I felt this was a good first focal length to get, as it makes a good nifty 50 for APS-C cameras, and is a focal length I enjoy shooting at, even though I generally don't do portraits yet. One thing to note about this lens is the focusing. While there is a good range between close distances, turning from 3 meters to infinity is very short, making it a bit difficult to nail focus if your subject is a little further away. In my opinion, this lens is much more suited for close-up shots. Photos and videos can have a softness to them, with diffraction and flaring causing some issues, especially shooting wide open. Finding softer lighting or stopping down will help this. Talking about lighting, the other reason I wanted to try this lens was for more low-light shooting. The kit lens struggles in indoor and low-light settings, causing an increase in noise. This lens, having a wide aperture of 1.6, should help when making videos indoors as well, with all of these only being lit by an overcast afternoon light coming in the windows. With the inexpensive cost of this lens, I knew I wouldn't be getting professional quality. But this is okay. I would still recommend this lens to anyone looking for something on a budget, and I look forward to trying more lenses from Neewer in the future if I can. I really have enjoyed shooting with this lens so far. Being fairly new into photography still, I don't mind if my photos aren't the sharpest. It's fun getting to play with the shallow depth of field and learning without having to break the bank. Skits, I know this is your stool, but I needed it, for this. Ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.